I still remember my wedding day. I was smiling, dressed like a princess. David held my hand and whispered, "You are my life now." My heart was full of love and my eyes were full of hope. I thought everything would be perfect from that day forward. We moved into David's family home, where his mother, Mrs. Laura, welcomed me warmly. She hugged me and said sweetly, "You are like the daughter I never had." I felt safe in her arms. I truly believed I had found not only a husband, but also a new loving mother. For the first few days, she brought me tea in the morning, helped me in the kitchen, and praised my cooking. Her smile seemed real. Her eyes looked kind. I called my mother and told her, "I'm lucky. My mother-in-law is like an angel." But the problem is, angels don't change overnight. As soon as David left for work every morning, Mrs. Laura's voice changed. "Why are you still sitting? You should have cleaned the room already," she shouted once. I was shocked. I stood up quickly, wiping my hands, trying not to cry. I thought maybe she was just tired that day, but it kept happening. Every small mistake turned into a storm. "If I used the wrong plate," she screamed. If I forgot to close a cupboard, she slammed it and walked away angrily. I tried harder every day, but nothing made her happy. At night, I cried under my blanket, wishing David could see the truth. One morning, she pushed my food aside and said, "This tastes like garbage." I smiled weakly, holding back tears. I didn't want to tell David. I thought I could handle it. But inside, I was breaking. Every word from her was like a knife in my heart. One evening, Mrs. Laura called me into her room. Her voice was soft this time, almost kind. "I have something for you," she said. She handed me a small, wrapped box. My heart beat faster. Maybe she wanted to fix things. Maybe this was her way of saying sorry. With shaking hands, I opened the box. Inside was an old broken chain and a small note. I read it slowly. "Just like this chain, you are weak, useless, and broken." My heart stopped. My hands dropped the box. My legs felt heavy. I stood there silent. Tears fell from my eyes, but I didn't cry out loud. I walked back to my room, locked the door, and sat on the floor. I held the broken chain in my hand. "Am I really that useless?" I whispered to myself. That night I didn't sleep. I didn't eat. I only felt pain. The next morning I looked at myself in the mirror. My eyes were red, my face pale. But deep inside, something had changed. I was tired of being afraid. I whispered, "I am not weak. I'm not broken." I knew it was time to speak, not with words, but with strength. I walked into the kitchen and started making breakfast. My hands still shook, but I didn't stop. I placed 2 plates on the table, one for her, one for me. I placed the broken chain carefully on her plate. Not with hate, but with a message. She came in and looked at the chain. "What is this?" she asked coldly. I smiled gently. "Thank you for the gift," I said. "It helped me realize I may be broken, but I can still shine." She stared at me, shocked. She didn't reply. For once, she was speechless. After that morning, things began to change slowly. Mrs. Laura didn't shout anymore. She didn't praise me, but she also didn't insult me. The silence between us was heavy, but peaceful. I stayed kind, but I didn't let her hurt me anymore. One afternoon, she stood beside me while I cooked. She didn't say a word, but she handed me the salt. I looked at her. Her eyes weren't angry. They were tired. Maybe even sad. I nodded softly and kept cooking. It was a small moment, but it felt huge. Over the next few weeks, she began helping more. Once she even said, "Good job," after tasting my soup. It wasn't love, but it was respect. And I accepted that. Maybe she saw that I was stronger now. Maybe she saw someone she couldn't break. One day, David looked at both of us and said, I'm so lucky to have two strong women in my life. Mrs. Laura smiled. This time it wasn't fake. She looked at me and nodded gently. That one small gesture told me everything was different now. We weren't best friends, but we weren't enemies either. There was peace in our home, and I felt proud, not because she changed, but because I did. I learned how to love myself even when someone else didn't. I found my voice in my silence. That broken chain is still with me, hidden in my drawer. I look at it sometimes and smile. Because once it broke me, but it also made me stronger. And now no one can ever break me again.